This man killed people for looking at his face. 36-year-old Nikko Jenkins murdered 4 people in a span of 10 days, just after he was freshly released from prison.
I got Nikko Jenkins. I got you.
What do you mean you got me?
I got your DNA at the murder scene. I got your DNA in the car.
Sir.
I got the weapon. I got Nikko Jenkins.
In his confession, he said that the killings were ordered by Apophis, the Egyptian snake god of chaos.
My religion of Chthonian Asubel, that's the underworld. He was like on the mummy, the black book. So this was them, my little cousins, the one that were in the house with me. That when I got to serve the search warrant.
Right.
This was their ritual of sacrifice.
And to instill his mental issue, he wounded his face and splayed his blood on his cell. Was this man mentally challenged, or was he acting crazy to manipulate his sentence? Today in Crime Diaries, we head to Omaha, Nebraska to explore the case of Nikko Jenkins. Nikko Allen Jenkins was born on September 16, 1986, to a notorious family that had a history of violence. He had a troubled childhood due to physical, mental, and sexual abuse that he suffered in his own home. To make matters worse, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and other mental illnesses and spent much of his time in and out of institutions. At the age of 7, Jenkins brought a loaded gun to school and was moved to special education for scoring a below-normal IQ score. At the age of 15, he stole a car and got jailed for it. During his teenage years in prison, Jenkins fought with inmates and assaulted personnel. Fast forward to 2013, he got released from his carjacking and assault cases. Here's where his kill spree started. 5:01 a.m., August 11, 2013. A patrol officer discovered 2 dead bodies in a white Ford pickup truck parked near a city swimming pool at 18th and F Street in Spring Lake Park, Omaha. The 2 victims, identified as Juan Uribe Pena and Jorge Cajiga Ruiz, had been shot in the head and their pockets turned inside out. Upon further investigation, the victims were baited to meet with 2 women for sex, but were robbed and killed in the process. 7 a.m., August 19, 2013. The body of Curtis Bradford was found by a man returning home from a night shift at a convenience store outside a detached garage at 18th and Clark Street. Investigators arrived to find 2 bullet wounds in Bradford's back. Police revealed that Bradford and Jenkins had posed for a Facebook photo posted the day before. Bradford would be the only victim that was an acquaintance of Jenkins. August 21, 2013, 2:15 a.m. A deputy sheriff responding to a shots-fired call discovered Jenkins' 4th and final victim, Andrea Kruger. Her body was found lying on the road at 168th and 4th Street with multiple shotgun wounds to the face, neck, and shoulder. Kruger had been returning home after a bartending shift near 178th and Pacific Street. In a short span of 10 days after Jenkins was released from prison, he murdered 4 victims. August 30th, 2013. Jenkins was arrested on an unrelated terroristic threats charge. By then, the evidence against him had mounted. Investigators had surveillance footage from cameras along the route where the last victim was assaulted, where Jenkins was seen. Jenkins also left traces of DNA on the first 3 murders, which all matched his sample. On the evening of September 3, 2013, Jenkins ultimately confessed to all 4 murders during a rambling 8-hour interview. On November 3, 2013, a handwritten letter from Jenkins was submitted to the Omaha World Herald. In the letter, he pleaded guilty to all counts in the 4 slayings. Additionally, Nikko Jenkins' interview revealed that he did so to offer sacrifices to the Egyptian snake god of chaos, Apophis. As the investigations continued, it was revealed that some people were accomplices to Jenkins' murders. On the first double murder, his sister Erica and cousin Christine Bordeaux sexually lured his first two victims to their deaths. The trio then robbed the dead bodies. Both his sister and cousin were sentenced to 20 years in prison for their contributions to the murder. Jenkins' mother, Lori, was also charged on the account of Bradford's murder for hiding the murder weapon. On his fourth murder, Jenkins' uncle, Warren Levering, helped him rob and kill Andrea Kruger. As a result, his uncle was sent to 40 years in prison for his part in the killing. Even Jenkins himself believed that he shouldn't have been released from prison. On February 19, 2014, Jenkins filed a federal lawsuit seeking $24.5 million from the state of Nebraska for wrongfully releasing him from prison. He stated that his claims of hearing voices from Apophis were repeatedly ignored. In the 6-page handwritten filing, he stated that being kept in solitary confinement augmented his schizophrenia. He blamed corrections officials for the 4 killings. Jenkins claimed that his problems were caused by mental illnesses and that he had schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation, and a psychiatrist concluded that Jenkins had an antisocial personality disorder and was faking psychotic symptoms. After being declared competent to stand trial, the proceedings against Jenkins commenced. He fired his defense lawyers, and on his request, he was allowed to represent himself at trial under the guidance of advisory attorneys. Throughout the trial, Jenkins maintained that he acts under the command of Apophis. His courtroom antics included speaking in tongues, howling, and laughing as prosecutors recounted the details of his victims' deaths. Even though Jenkins held on to his appeal of insanity, the judge did not buy his antics. On April 16, 2014, Judge Peter Bataillon found Jenkins guilty of all 4 murders. Jenkins was initially scheduled to be sentenced on August 11, 2014. The date was delayed indefinitely following a hearing held to determine whether he was capable of understanding the death penalty proceedings against him. On July 29th, Judge Bataillon ordered Jenkins to be housed at the Lincoln Regional Center Psychiatric Hospital until doctors were satisfied with his condition. Officials at the regional center refused to house Jenkins due to inadequate security, but doctors agreed to treat him at a Lincoln prison. Ultimately, in May 2017, Jenkins was sentenced to death by a 3-judge panel. He was also sentenced to 450 years on weapons charges connected with the murders. To this day, Jenkins sits on death row in a Nebraska prison. His case has sparked much debate and controversy about the treatment of mentally ill individuals in the criminal justice system. This story questions law enforcement standards, begging the question if releasing mentally ill convicts back into society was actually for everyone's good. What are your thoughts about the case of Nikko Jenkins? Tell us in the comments section. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. This has been Crime Diaries, and until next time, don't be another statistic.